Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm Xavier Bensemhoun, and I would like to tell a story about cybersecurity in the era of space exploration. Some of you may have already checked my bio. You may have understood that I'm in the cybersecurity field since 21 years right now, and I'm really a strong fan of space science. So the occasion to talk about both subjects within the same situation, that's great. You may have also the following questions. Why should we take care of cybersecurity in space exploration? I mean, those guys are really intelligent, so that should be already in place. Of course, the answer is a bit far from that. So let's understand how we use the space technologies, and then we go through those risks. First of all, we are highly depending on those technologies, those space technologies. Let's say, for example, the artificial satellites. We use them to observe Earth, to communicate, internet, high bandwidth internet all around the globe. Because yes, the globe is not flat, the Earth is not flat, so defense, science, research, and even navigation, those GPS, GLONASS, all those services. So we are highly depending on those solutions that physically stay on the space, and those solutions are complex. In order to fully understand what those risks are, we need to understand some key elements. Usually, those space systems are architected in 4 pieces: the space segments, ground and user segments, and those link segments that interconnect those ones. Those systems must be integrated, all of them, and they are complex, such as propulsion systems, communication systems, scientific instruments. Also, we need to know that usually in the past, we had those nation-state agencies, that did a great job. But now we have the new space. So privatization of the space is concrete right now. And we saw last week the first private space walk, of the history. So the privatization of the space is really something that's concrete, that it's right now. So because all of that we should try to find the risk that those technologies are exposed to. So first of all, any IT, OT, traditional issues, risks, that space industry live with those risks. But there is also some a specific risk to that industry. The main risk is the supply chain. So when in 2021, some people were warning about anti-satellite missiles, there were a risk analysis on what kind of threat that bring to the space industries. And basically the answer was, well, if we have a constellation of satellites, we don't care so much about those anti-satellite missiles. But the real threat for the industry is supply chain. And there is also another one, the life cycle. So come on, we do have in space some satellites that are still operational and was elaborated in the age of the first computer security program back in 1972. So, and then there is even AI in space, That's a requirement for autonomous vehicles, autonomous missions. And we need to take care of the future risks with quantum computing, for example. So now we understand the situation. Maybe we should ask do we have guidelines? Do we have standards? What are those best practices? Well, all of them are quite recent. Some of them are even only considering some of those 4 segments and not the full spectrum. And yeah, so those space-centric cybersecurity standards are either lacking, too recent, and in some countries like US, the space industry is even not recognized as critical industry. So they are complex. We are highly depending on those solutions. What are those risks? So I've chosen to show you two kinds of threats, effective threats, and I've selected one of them in regards to the user and crowd segment. Why I've chosen one? This one because it started with an IT vulnerability, and it finished with a war, just 1 hour after exploitation of that vulnerability. Okay? So this is concrete, and war is war. The second one is an exercise, a red team and blue team exercise that European Space Agency initiates in 2023. So again, that's really recent, right? So those fake, malicious guys, the red team, was able to gain access to the satellites. The satellite was built in order to have such exercise, right? And those guys were able to modify the picture that the satellite was taken from Earth, okay, of Earth, and was able to either remove some of those pictures or modify them. So let your imagination run wide and understand the potential threats. If that kind of satellite was a military satellite or imagery satellite for, let's say, your next harvest. This is a joke, of course. So you should hash, of course, and sometimes in the hash we add some salt, but in space, salt can be dangerous, right? So NASA provided liquid spice. There is solutions. So of course those solutions could come from technical aspects, come also from governance, awareness, and human processes. So in order to sum up, we are highly depending on space systems, even if they are complex. So we need to, of course, secure them. And yeah, we are highly depending on them, but we still use them. That's it. Thanks a lot. Je n'ai pas regardé le temps.